equipment overview. So let's go with the installation environment. So uh, we all know that this is very important with regards to installation. We do stress this out with our partners that for every installation, we need to ensure the very first one is the equipment room. So it is very necessary because it really plays a crucial role with the use of our equipment. So I think similar with other communication devices, a typical clean space is very necessary. So we have the precautions here for the rooms that very important that it should have an adequate ventilation and dryness. So it should not be placed in the area that is not too hot or no too cold. So we have here our operating temperature that is from 0 to 40 degrees Celsius with the humidity of from 0 to 90%. And in order to maintain the room from cleanliness, you need to, as much as possible, minimize any potential sources of interference, and all types of sundries are not allowed to be placed within the vicinity of our device. So, I mean, all of those miscellaneous items, such as the batteries, screws, or any small items, we prohibit that from putting within the vicinity of our equipment. Then you need to avoid stalling in areas with a lot of vibration, dust, or water, or any oil contact. And as much as possible, stay away with radio or any cell phone antennas, electric welding machines, and any high frequency machines. And you need to provide a reliable ground wire system, and the impedance on the ground must be less than or equal to 3 ohms. Then, the equipment grounding should comply with the grounding standards outlined in this notice, and it should be grounded separately and thoroughly. So, the most important one is, of course, the power supply. So, should be within the range for the AC, that is 100 to 240 volts. And as much as possible, if you have the UPS, that is the best solution for that. So for power supply, AC should have 50 to 60 hertz. That is voltage of 100 to 240 volts. And you need to, as much as possible, put that in independently of any other equipment. This is to prevent from any interruptions, so, and to ensure the stability of the equipment. And of course, as is mentioned, you need to install a UPS. Then another important factor is our wiring. So I think most of you guys here, we all know that the quality of the call is really directly impacted by the cabling that is being used. So which is very significant during the installation. So here are some notice that we have to place within the standard cabinet in before wiring. So it should have a minimum distance of 1 unit for this is to have a proper heat ventilation, and we have the heat dissipation. So first you need to turn off the power when during the wiring. So there are some instances that there are some errors or some issues, so this is to prevent any cause or malfunction of the system. To avoid any AC noise interference, so do not connect the telephone line in parallel with any AC power supply. So, or any other cable, or it can be shared with the same power socket. So, if in any way that is close to these lines, it should be insulated. So, we recommend to use the shielded twisted pair or any adhesive tape to put that for some insulation. And when performing a high voltage protection, so yeah, it is really necessary to install a lighting protection distribution panel. Uh, Redstone, we have the patch panel 2400 and the patch panel 4800. This is um, to prevent a double lighting protection. So especially for those areas that have lighting discharges that has during some storms. So we really recommend to use our patch panel. So yeah. Next one is we need to check all the lines. So all include lines means the external and the extension lines. So you need to understand the conditions of the line. So first, access to analog extension lines. So you need to check with the PSTN direct line. So you need to check if there are some dialer or in the front of the device. And yeah, so we need to make sure that those external lines. So you need to make sure that those lines are completely tested. And of course, we are recommending not to use any unnecessary external devices such as dialers. Then access to analog extension lines. So yeah, the first question is it's been using the patch panels. So especially for the many number of FXS and FXO ports. So if you're using the distribution frame is standardized, then you need to make adjustments of the rewiring. Or if you're using our patch panel, there's no problem for that because we have the patch panel just using the cable through it, and we make sure that all the distribution is standardized. And we have the line connections. So if there is a reconnected junction box in the middle of the line, so we are really prohibiting this one. So we, as much as possible, try not to use this one. Okay, so yeah, this is the patch panel that I've been mentioning you. This is our distribution panel. So we can connect the RG45 port. So as you can see, this is our device. So our Rex IPPBX. So in front of that, you can connect the RG45 parts. So connecting this is the patch panel. So as you can see, this is the first line, 1, 2, 4, and here corresponds 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the RG11 port, so it can be connected directly to the FXS or FXO ports. Okay, so grounding, we have, yeah, this is very important, especially if you're using the FXO port devices. Telephone exchange must be reliably and consistently grounded. Because as you all know, all of those calls, quality of the calls can be impacted with the proper grounding. And most importantly, this is to protect the safety of your staff or engineers on the field. So I just show here the grounding rules. I think everybody knows already that the grounding rules, the ground resistance must not be greater than 3 ohms. Then, of course, the insulate. If in any instance your installation environment do not have a grounding conditions, so we are yeah, you can have nailing steels on the any solid wall or ground. This is for your temporary grounding source for the meantime. Okay, so let's move. Yeah, this is the pin specifications for the RG45 socket. So as you can see here, this is the RG45. So it corresponds to 4 pairs. So the first pair for line 1 and 2, the second pair for pin 3 and 6, and the third pair for 4 and 5, and the fourth pair is for pin 7 and 8. So this is if you want to have your own DIY, so you can have these pin specifications. So, and if you have secure our patch panel, you don't have to go through to this, but it's very convenient on your part. Okay, so let me show you to the installation part. So again, this one, FXO connect to the PSTN line, FXS connect to the analog phones, and of course the one connect to your LAN switch and through the internet, and the power adapter that we supplied during within the box. So we recommend to use that, and of course should have a proper grounding. So after you turn on the device, make sure that the steady green indicator will show to the power and STU. It means that the device is running normally and it has obtained an IP address. And if it's green, steady green, the link is up. Yeah, and if you try to check the status of the analog trunk, if it's in use, it's steady yellow, and if steady green, it refers to the analog extension that is being used. So that's the status on the once you power on the device. So now, how are we going to connect to the administration computer? So to connect with the administration computer, you need to make sure that you need to be in the same network segment. So say for example,